Hi, my name is Masi and welcome back to the channel. So one of the things that I keep mentioning on this channel is just how crazy my career journey has been in Switzerland. One of, I've had to go up and down, I've had to change what I do a few times. It's taken me a while to finally find where I fit in, and at the moment I feel like where I am is where I'm supposed to be at this point in life. This might change in next year, but one, I don't know, but I feel like I'm on the right trajectory right now. However, one thing that I realized on this journey is the fact that it's actually quite important to join unions or to join associations that are linked with your career. I always thought, I think a lot of my friends, for some weird reason, are lawyers. And one thing that I noticed, they tend to be in law societies and things like that. And I always found those things weird because for me, I was like, well, do you just want to sit with people you work with and, well, work with or work in the same field and then talk about work all the time? It felt like that's not social, that's working. And then sometime towards the end of last year, I found out that my position was going to be eliminated in Switzerland and I was going to have to look for a new job. So I started looking for a new job. And somebody mentioned to me that there is actually an association for executive assistants, and it might be helpful for me to join because, I love networking and I love meeting people. And I was like, okay, fine. So I go on LinkedIn and I find that they do actually have an event. I think it was the next day. So registration had ended like a week before I registered, and I got it, and I sent a message and they were like, okay, I remember sending the money immediately because I was like, just in case they change their mind, because registration had already ended. So I went for it, and one of the things that I loved about it was the fact that I did not have to worry about work, talking about work. I did not have to worry about how I will sound if I, for example, complain about my day or something like that. So at the time when I joined, I was actually already on garden leave, so it was fine. I had time, and I didn't really have a lot of things to do. So I enjoyed it, and then I started a new job, and it was great. I loved the fact that I was in this atmosphere with people who have similar career trajectories, similar dreams, similar objectives, similar experiences to me, but yet they were working in different places. The greatest thing that happened to me as a job hunter at that time was one thing I had never known how to do in Switzerland is salaries. Salaries are not transparent in this country, not in the same company, not in the same. There are very few places where salaries are transparent, which I've always found ridiculous because, in my experience, maybe I'm the one who's just meeting the right people, but in my experience, people are not shy about sharing how much they make. People who make a lot of money are very proud of how much they make and they say it. People who make very little are very loud about it and they say it. So I don't know why HR departments, HR and management don't like sharing. I just find it weird, but anyway, maybe there are people who I don't know who do not like sharing the salaries. But anyway, or whatever the case. And plus, people know that you can estimate your salary based on your rent, right? And everybody complains about how much their rent is. So I learned about this association, and I learned a lot about pay scales. And one lady in particular told me that when she was negotiating for her salary, they told her that their budget, that was it, and they couldn't give her more because the other assistants who had been there longer were making way less than what she was already making. And the only reason they were giving her that was because they were benchmarking it against what she had been making. So that was the only reason, but they were not willing to go way further than that. She managed to negotiate a higher percentage in her bonus, and I did not even know this was a thing. So of course, sometimes I'm saying things and people, someone might listen to me and go like, how did you not know this? How did you get on your career without knowing this? But hey, we learn different things at different times. This was my time to learn that, and that's how I learned it. All this to say that when I joined an association, I learned so many things that I did not know that I needed to know. I learned that some of my experiences, which I thought were unique to me, were not, and that they were things that were systematic, and that there were people who were going through the same experiences that I was going through. And it took me a while, actually. It did take me a while to just, I think for me, it took a few months for me to realize just how much I had missed out on by not being in a community that understands. That's what I was for. Community that understands what I'm looking for. And I learned that, yeah, that is important. Now, the types of associations that somebody joins can be different. Like you can join an association of based on your ethnicity. You can join an association based on your nationality. You can join an association based on your work. You can join on your work with your ethnicity. Like sometimes just being in a group of people who have similar shared experiences. My thinking, which right now I don't know why I had that thinking, but I did, was that we are going to sit down and start talking about, oh, poor me. And I did not want that. I did not want to sit in a place where I'm sitting down and just complaining about my life. But that's not what people do in associations. People actually find solutions. People actually sit and know what they want and do stuff. And that is one of those things that we genuinely, I feel like we miss out on when we are in groups that are not special. Now, I had mentioned in a few videos, and I think even in my last video when I was talking about mentorship, I mentioned that executive assistants, it's quite a lonely position because your experiences are unique to you, and you there are so many things that you nobody can relate to. For example, if you're the assistant to the head, right? How he relates to you can, if you're having tension, there's nobody who can tell, because how they tend to relate to other management people, the people who report to them, plus you, how they relate to those people is different from how they relate to you. And sometimes if you feel neglected, you feel not treated well, but then there's nobody you can talk to because they don't get to see this side of the person. And of course, my thing is always, if you can leave, leave. But sometimes you can't, and you have to find ways of coping. One of the ways of coping can just be a place for you to just go and talk to people who've gone through the same. And of course, I'm not advocating for you coming and starting to spill your company secrets and things like that. Also, be careful what you share because you don't know who's there. You don't know who's eyeing for your job. Remember, these are people with similar experiences, similar profiles as you. So, somebody can just use that against you. So, also be careful. There's also that side of it, which I would be amiss to not tell you that, yeah, that is also a possibility that someone can actually do that. However, the reality is that most of the time we just go there, have fun, and enjoy ourselves. So one of yeah, so that's, I think for me that's the best thing that I learned about just being in an association and just learning about associations. Now I am in a few associations. This was the only professional association that I'm in, but I'm in a few other ones which are cultural, which are, so some for ladies, some for people from my community, some from women from my community. So basically, they can be as subdivided as possible, of course, based on your timing and everything. And it's also a good way for having a social life, because then you're having a social life with people who you have similar interests. All right, see you in the next video, and I hope that you've learned something from this.